Hello, everyone. Today I'm here with Daniel Lamoureux, staff writer for the Hartford Informer. Today we'll be discussing his article on retention rates, graduation rates, and achievement here at the University of Hartford. Care to tell me more?
Yeah, so basically the goal of this article was to sort of just analyze the university's retention rates over time and try to get a sense of where they fall short and where they can improve, also where they've been doing a good job.
Yep.
So basically, as you can see here, we have a graph of first to second year retention rates from 2019 through 2023. So overall, their 5-year average across that very tumultuous span is 76.3.
Wow.
So they did okay. They started out in 2019 at 78.4. Then they dipped down in 2020, 2021. Then they sort of started to bounce back again from 2022 to 2023. And now they're sort of hovering at like an 80% first to second year retention rate.
Yeah.
So that's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
But in my research, I found that numbers don't really tell the full story.
Indeed, yeah.
So like a professor that I spoke to mentioned how just having a higher retention rate does not automatically guarantee that the quality of education has gone up. So you're still going to face issues with students using AI, cheating, also just like effort issues. Like one thing that was mentioned in my interview with the anonymous professor I spoke to was that like much of the work that has been assigned is severely downgraded from what it used to be.
Yeah.
So basically, if you think about the effort that it takes to get an A right now, that might be comparable to the effort that it used to take maybe 20 years ago to get like a B or a C.
Yeah.
So that's still very much an issue facing the university. And it's an issue in terms of an interdisciplinary approach to education, because now a lot of students only see like work as being viable if it has a direct career application.
Yeah.
Whereas it used to be you would sort of get a more broad, expansive education, because everybody always says, oh, I have to take this class, I have to take this class, I have to take this gen ed, and it's all stupid because it doesn't have anything to do with what I want to do.
Yeah.
But ideally, those are the classes that are supposed to expand your worldview and give you like a better sense of where you're going, and also just to make you a more well-rounded individual, because the best employees are the ones who are adaptable. Yep. So if you sort of focus on only your major during college, then you're going to go out with a very narrow set of skills. Whereas if people saw gen eds and a more interdisciplinary approach as beneficial, then you would sort of have an edge in the job market in terms of just being more skilled.
It sounds like you've gone through a lot of research to get all this stuff done. Tell me about how you went about collecting all the information for this research article.
Yeah, so basically I got the names of various administrators and teachers throughout all the colleges pretty much. I think the only one I might not have reached out to was the art school.
Okay.
Which is significant because the art school and the Hart school, the art school and the Hart school sounds like a lot. But the art school and the music school both have probably like the highest retention rates over time. Yeah. And I would estimate that's probably just because it's a very specialized field. Like if you go into be a musician, you're gonna still want to be a musician regardless. And if you go into be an artist, you're still gonna want to be an artist. Like they're very specialized fields. Whereas if you go into like A&S and you want to do psychology, you might not have like as full of a view of what you want to do.
Of course. Yeah.
Not to throw any shade to psychology majors. But basically, so I reached out to a bunch of different administrators. I reached out to a bunch of professors I've had in the past because I'm a humanities student, so I have a lot of connections in that department. Yeah. I also went around and I put flyers in various like mailboxes throughout the Hart School.
Okay.
And I think also in CETA or Dana Hall. Yeah. So just to reach those professors that I might not have as much of a connection with. So that's how I.
So how many responses out of all those people that you went to go see and get information out of? How many responses back? How many people gave you helpful information?
I got a decent amount of helpful information, but most of what I received was actually from my old professors like people who knew me.
Yeah.
I didn't really get any responses from people who I haven't met before. So like I didn't get any responses from the Hart School. I didn't get any responses from anybody who I dropped things off for, Dana, things like that. Which, makes sense, but I think it's also significant because maybe they don't feel like they can talk about it. That's another issue that I ran into with a lot of the humanities professors is that if you read my article, a lot of them go uncredited or anonymous because they're not really sure if it's, beneficial or if it's okay for them to be discussing this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of an issue because I think that if we're talking about a problem that the university needs to solve, theoretically, the professors would be the ones who are sort of, putting their heads together and trying to fix it. So I think the fact that they feel kind of, not ashamed, but maybe hesitant to discuss it. That's
almost
sort of
timid too. Wow.
That's sort of telling, and I think that it could be part of the reason why we have problems with achievement or graduation rates, things like that. So I got a decent amount of responses. I actually also received a response from the student success committee, which was very good. One of the people I reached out to got me in contact with them, and they provided me with some of the initiatives that President Ward, who I noticed you just did an interview with. He's planning on putting forth some new initiatives to try to increase retention. I think they said they were going to. If I can look at it here. They're planning on using second year advisors, students who maybe struggled with their first year. So basically just trying to really tackle, not just first to second year retention, but also second to third year retention.
Mm-hmm.
They're working to sort of increase second year participation in clubs and organizations. Because that's like a real, impediment to students who maybe feel like they're not that involved on campus. They don't feel so involved in the community that they want to stay here.
That's true.
That's a big goal.
That's very true. During my interview with Dr. Ward, he said the same thing. He was really stressing, getting involved, communicating to people in your community to really try and cement your presence here on campus and make sure that you're getting the work done and you have the inspiration to continue to do what you got to do. Everything you're saying now is just the same thing replicated, which I find very fascinating. I want you to quickly tell me about this dip here. I know you mentioned earlier about the effects of COVID. Can you elaborate a little bit on how COVID potentially affected this chart, if not at all?
So as you can see, there's a pretty significant gap from 2020 to 2021. We see a dip, and then after that, once lockdowns start to stop, and people stop wearing masks a little bit more, like in 2022, things start to go up again. And I think that's just because it was a difficult time for everybody. And it's not easy to, want to come to school when you have to wear a mask and you can't even really effectively communicate with your friends, or you're online for most of it. So as you can imagine, that's a big factor in why the numbers dipped. Since then, the school's been doing pretty good, as you can see, from 2022 to 2023, the numbers have gone up.
Even a higher rate than in 2023 compared to 2019, which is good.
So that's a positive. However, like I said before, it is important to recognize that COVID also had catastrophic effects on achievement. In my conversations with various professors that I spoke to, there's a big emphasis on can you just get something done? That was kind of the mindset during COVID. It wasn't, we're trying to challenge students and make them, grow. It's just, can we get them something that, just have them make some sort of deliverable? And that's sort of a mindset that hasn't necessarily entirely gone away since then. And I feel like you probably see in some of your classes, like students who just, don't want to do the work.
Bare minimum.
And that was kind of the mindset that was almost encouraged during COVID, because the idea was we're coming to school, but we're not really learning anything. We're kind of just doing this so that we get the sense of normalcy, but it wasn't really
to get by. Wow.
So that's definitely still an issue today.
So how do you think, now this is me asking you, how do you think we can tackle this issue and fix this and kind of increase these retention rates and get us back to a state of more students being involved, everyone being 100% sure on what they're doing, and not leaving campus and dropping out and things like that. How do you envision yourself tackling this issue if you had that power to do so?
Yeah, just going back to like the concept of getting more involved, I think that's a very key aspect of retention. Like personally for me, I feel like I've progressively gotten more involved on campus as I've stayed here. So I think that just trying to get students, to feel comfortable and feel like they have a sense of community, like either their first, if not at the end of their first year, by the end of their second year, just so that they feel like, this is like my home. This is the place that I want to stay. I think that's very, very important. That's something that's feedback that I received from President Ward. That's feedback from one of my professors as well. Mentioned that. So I think that's definitely a big part of it. I think that achievement is definitely a much broader issue. I think that has to do more with just where our culture's at right now. There's so many distractions with technology and stuff like that, that it's very difficult to maintain the same level of focus that students used to have. And COVID definitely didn't help that at all. So I think that just trying to get professors to expect more out of their students and maybe to, push them a little bit harder could maybe, decrease the achievement gap, from our generation compared to our parents' generation. I think that would definitely be beneficial in that area. But they're two very separate issues. And I think that ultimately just focusing on, building a culture on campus and trying to just create a drive and a motivation to learn are at the root of solving both of those issues.
Wow, that's very, very powerful. I would love to see that come to light in terms of having more students being engaged and, having a zeal to actually commit to, graduating and getting stuff done. Obviously, as we're both students, so we know of people who may have dropped out or transferred to a different major or whatever, and it is rough. It's a tough thing to witness because, we pay money to be here, we pay money to learn, but not all of the students take advantage of the resources that we have here, organizations, all that stuff, right? I sure hope that we can see an increase in dedicated students here to continue their career paths, I want to ask you one more question. This is more of a personal question. Why do you think that people should read your article that you put out on this issue?
Well, I think that it goes through a lot of things that we just talked about, and it details everything pretty clearly, I think. It also includes several, specific quotations from some of the professors that I spoke to, and I think just hearing their voices and hearing what they have to say is a very important part of understanding where we go, in terms of solving this issue. It also includes part of the statement that I received from the Success Committee, which I think is definitely important to look at because it details some of the initiatives that President Ward is thinking of putting forth. So just to sort of educate yourselves about, that being on the horizon, and just to get a better sense of, how the university is working to better serve its students. I think that's something that the article goes over pretty well. And I think that's really just key to the college experience.
Indeed it is. That's great. Daniel, I want to thank you for having me this time.
Thanks for being here.
Everyone else, I want to thank you for watching. Go on to continue to read Daniel's article on retention rates, graduation rates, etc. Check out more of our articles on our website, and I will see you guys soon.